not very pleasant to think about it. I mean, you know, I had so many different delusions, and you know, I was psychotic so much until they got me on medication that it was really hard to see what reality was.
Do you remember what happened? Do you ever talk about that with your dad?
Dad and I don't talk about it very often, but I can't believe I'd do something like that to my mom, you know. She was a wonderful person.
Joe Bruce came home from work on the evening of June 30th, 2006, to pools of blood in the kitchen and discovered the dead body of his wife in the bathroom.
I never pictured myself as the kind of person that could run out of their own house screaming, but that's exactly what happened. I mean, I was screaming. I mean, I ran out the door of my house onto the yard going, oh my God, Amy, and I was screaming.
He says he knew immediately that their eldest son was responsible for her murder. William Bruce has a history of violence associated with mental illness.
You have to see psychosis to get an idea. His eyes went from normal looking to like black circles under, I mean black. His eyes were stone cold.
He suffers from paranoid schizophrenia. When he killed his mother, he believed she was an Al-Qaeda agent, yet he was unaware of his illness.
He looked like the typical early 20 young man that you'd want to date your daughter.
Webster was one of the 2 officers who interviewed Bruce on the night of his arrest.
We asked him a lot of questions over a 13-hour period, and everything that he said made sense. But then when we zeroed in on the crime itself, it was almost like he was detaching himself and he'd start talking about something else, whether it was Osama bin Laden or the CIA. It's like he wasn't coming back to reality.
Bruce was found not criminally responsible for the murder by reason of insanity. He was sent to Riverview Psychiatric Hospital, where he remains today. He was previously committed there and discharged 2 months before murdering his mother. You said that this was what you both feared would happen.
We knew that the mental health system was not there for us.
112 federal programs claim to support the 11 million Americans suffering from serious mental illness, but a government report said they are largely uncoordinated and bureaucratic.
In Will's case, it wasn't until he killed his mother that he got help. Will shared this room when they were kids.
Of the $147 billion federal dollars budgeted for mental health in 2014, $62 billion was spent on treatment and research.
He was really sick when he went to the hospital. When he came out of the hospital, it was just unbelievable.
Because Will Bruce was an adult, his father had to convince a judge to make him his son's legal guardian in order to obtain his medical records, including notes from doctors at Riverview. What was your reaction to what you read in these records?
I didn't know that there were people in there that had worked to aid him in getting out of the hospital without receiving treatment.
Joe Bruce is referring to patient advocates. Congress mandated that mental health institutions work with independent advocates in the 1986 PAMI Act. They visit facilities like Riverview to ensure that the rights of the mentally ill are protected.
By report, the advocate championed Mr. Bruce's cause and repeatedly pressed for his discharge.
The PAMI program is operated by the National Disability Rights Network. In 2014, their budget was $36 million and they served around 14,000 clients.
If that person is saying to me, or to any advocate, I absolutely need your help in refusing my medication, then it's our job to make sure that we are beside that person in speaking out for their rights.
Moody's colleagues are named in the records Joe Bruce showed us. He says advocates destroyed doctors' efforts to convince his son that he was ill and to take antipsychotic medication.
I guess I understand the need to place blame, because in something so terrible, we're looking for answers.
Is there a part that you feel was played by the advocates that should have been done differently?
advocates can't discharge people. Only psychiatrists and the mental health professionals can discharge people.
Advocates have helped protect conditions for the mentally ill, but critics argue they've gone a step too far in taking a civil liberties approach to mental illness.
It's been perverted to the point of saying, let's not force people into treatment. Let's give them a choice. And I'm saying, in cases where people can make a rational, sound choice for their own treatment, sure. But what do we do when a person cannot, when they don't have the mental capacity to make that choice?
Murphy proposed the most comprehensive mental health bill in over 4 decades in December 2013, and he reintroduced it in May 2015.
The whole federal government structure needs to change in this too.
Quite simply, we've created the most difficult system for those who have the most difficulty.
Critics say the bill disregards individual rights by making it easier to commit someone involuntarily. But Murphy insists that acts of violence like the Bruce case, as well as mass killings like Sandy Hook, make it crucial to reassess treatment. According to recent studies, psychosis increases the odds of people committing a violent act by about 50%.
Yeah, this is, that's when Amy and I were married. There were difficult feelings to deal with, but we recognized, I mean, right from the beginning, that he couldn't help what he did.
Are you angry at him?
Oh, no. I mean, his successful recovery was thwarted by laws. It never should have happened. This was completely preventable.